Hello, I'm Bill Scott at Store Report. As we talked about in a previous presentation, there are several objectives we will address in our goal of optimizing your mom and pop store for maximum profits and position yourself for growth. You may say, well, that's not for me because I've got enough to do with one or two stores to keep me busy for a long time, and I have no intention of growing larger than I already am. Well, that's fine. But whether your intention is to grow or not to grow, remember what I said about golfers. All good golfers always follow through with their swing. Whether they are making a 498-yard bomb or a 12-inch putt into the cup, professional golfers always follow through after the club makes contact with the ball. Now think about that, about the golfer for a moment. Paul Mickelson said, I think that mental rehearsal is every bit as important as physical rehearsal. In other words, what do you intend to happen in the first weeks, months, or years while engaged in your business? If you don't know that, then you will probably fail before you even get started. But substitute the word growth with the word change, and think again. Growth doesn't necessarily relate to the number of brick and mortar establishments you run. You can grow in your market through advertising, replacing lost customers, moving to a better location, taking on a partner or a relative, or even losing one. Change is inevitable whether we like it or not. Better that we remain in control than to let the situation control us. Most of us are too busy worrying about what we don't want to happen than we do not concentrate on our intentions. If you happen to have been raised by parents or a guardian that taught you to expect defeat at every turn and be contented to accept what the world bestowed upon you, the first thing you need to do is to run that foolishness out of your mind. The only difference between you and men and women who have orchestrated and played out their own lives to great success is their relentless obsession to become successful. The long and the short of it is, don't embark on any project until you are determined to follow the steps required to succeed, and make adjustments in your plans only when required to do so. Step 1. Put your faith in a plan and live it over and over in your mind as if it is already happening. As you go, learn from your mistakes, make the necessary adjustments, allow them to ripple through your future plans, and keep moving forward. Step 2. Take stock of your current situation dealing with facts. And in order to do that, you're going to need to spend the next 90 days collecting your sales data. You will need to be scanning your sales in order to do this. Within the next 2 weeks, I plan on writing an article that will cover the rudimentary elements of scanning for those who are unfamiliar with it. However, in this presentation, I am assuming most of you know the basics of the technology. So we will fall short of the mile-high view, but won't approach it from the ground level either. You don't need to learn how to build a watch in order to tell time. So bear with me and ask your basic questions through private email, as many of you continue to do. Every item that you sell must be identified, and the only way to do that is through the use of the presence of the barcode that appears on the product. That would be a series of bars that make no sense to the average person, nor should they. In America, the bars represent a 12-digit number, also known as UPCA. generally located on the package of the item being sold. In Europe, the symbol, also known as the EAN, will represent a 13-digit code, but the purpose is the same. If at all possible, you will want to refrain from selling any item that does not have a barcode. If it doesn't have a barcode, you may assign one to it. There are several free software programs available that will help you with that, and even print a label you can affix to the item. The only real problems occur with specialty items so tiny that they defy all possibility of allowing a barcode to be attached to them. There can also be problems with barcodes pasted on cold beverages that do not adhere properly. Either make accommodations for those in a book that sits next to the cash register, or just get rid of them altogether. On the ones you assign barcodes to using a software program, what will be the process? For UPCA, start with the number 0, followed by 5 nines, and then the number 00000 through 99999. The reason the second number should be 99999 is so they don't run afoul of legitimate barcodes that are found on American products. The next 5 digits, the 7th through the 11th, will allow you to assign as many as 100,000 new barcodes that are reserved for the items that do not have them. Keep in mind that 5 zeros are allowed because it is also a number. The last digit, the 12th, will be assigned by the software program you use to generate the barcode. The 12th digit is the check digit, and used to tell the scanner that the first 11 digits were scanned correctly. Further explanation is beyond the scope of this lesson. In Europe, you will choose an EAN 13, a 13-digit format, where you will enter the first 12 digits and the software program will create the 13th digit, as in the case of the UPCA. The process is of no real concern to you. I simply mention it because someone always asks. A common use of self-generated barcodes occurs with deli products, such as 3-piece chicken dinners or a whole pizza. A different code would be assigned to a slice of pizza. Usually these products are packaged in a styrofoam box, and you can stick the labels on the box while inserting the product into the package, so the item can be scanned and priced at the POS system, the cash register. Some POS system providers will include a scanner that comes with the POS that I highly recommend. And in other cases, you can purchase one on the internet for as little as $50 or so. They can also be used with tablets, and most cell phones have applications available for a very low price. Here's a picture of one I bought for my tablet and use when I'm walking around the store checking prices and counting stock. And as far as this lesson is concerned, this is as far as I intend to go on addressing barcoding. As I said, I am considering writing a barcode primer for those that are not familiar with barcodes that want to learn more, and make it available as a download to their cell phone, PCs, etc. You will need to download the sales data from your POS for 90 days and accumulate it in your computer. I would suggest you keep the data in a CSV format or directly into an Excel spreadsheet. More about Excel in a moment. The required elements you will need for the data will be the store number, the tender ID, the UPCA or EAN 13, the timestamp or date and time of the sale in some other way, the number of units sold, and the sale amount. You can obtain the description that identify most of the items in English from us for free. although we may not have all of them for your specific area of the country. The chances are the descriptions themselves will not come in the downloads from the POS, but you can use Google to get most of the ones you may not have, or go to www.upcdatabase.com. But if the POS does include the descriptions, those descriptions could be included in the data you download and used for identification purposes. Now this may sound like a lot of work, but the setup need only be done once, and help is most assuredly available in your area. Most convenience store operators have a price book for each store, and they maintain the data in the price book on a PC to load onto the POS when changes occur. Some POS systems allow you to enter the price book into the POS manually, but keeping your price book on a PC or a laptop where you can maintain it and upload it again should change occur is better by far. We have a price book located on the cloud that includes the item descriptions you can use that will allow you to maintain your price book and download a CSV file to upload to your POS. But we have to pay a small fee to have it hosted by Microsoft. You're welcome to use our price book if you wish. We can arrange it if you will just pick up the fee. I think it's around $10 a month. However, you can maintain your price book in Excel on your own PC if you prefer. There is more data you will need from a price book than the sales data mentioned above, and we will be happy to make suggestions depending on your circumstances. Collect 90 days worth of sales records into a spreadsheet, and you will have everything you need to move forward, including what is selling, the price of the sale, and the turn rate. Any items in your store that are not on the list or are seasonal should be marked for death row. The items that meet those criteria should be immediately removed from your store, and do not accept additional orders. You can store them in a warehouse away from the store, return them to the supplier if they will accept them, donate them to a food bank, or throw them in the trash. They are more than worthless to you. It's costing you money just to have them in your store. You would be better off replacing them with boxes of rocks. They are free, they don't depreciate, and they require no ongoing maintenance cost. The next step in the process is to determine each item's turn rate, the number of times an item sold over a specific period of time. For example, an item that produced a monthly turn rate of 4.00000 would have a daily turn rate of 0.12903 and a 90-day turn rate of 120. You can compute this by taking the data over any period. In this effort, we use 90 days, and create a pivot table. Creating pivot tables are simple, and you won't have any trouble finding a relative, an employee, or a student in your area who uses Excel to take you through this simple process of setting one up. It's quite simple, and we will be using them a lot in this course. More about pivot tables later. A quick look at this table tells me that out of the 14 items listed, I would consider removing any items that sold less than one per month, 3 1/4. That would be over half of the items. But of course, the profit earned off of the sale of these items must be taken into consideration. The Excel spreadsheet will do these calculations for you. When doing your calculations, remember you should discount the value of these items by approximately 2.92% of their cost for every month they sit on your shelves. So if the item cost you $2, the cost of the item by the end of the quarter will be $2 plus $2 times 9%, or $2.18. If you counted on a 30% profit margin when you bought them by marking the item up to say $2.86, the original $2 cost and the 18-cent carrying cost over the period will yield you a profit of only 24, not 30%. If that product continues to grow dust on your shelf for a full year, the profit on the sale will drop to 6%. The question is, would you have bought that product if you expected to make a profit of only 6%? How is this possible? If we paid $2 for an item and the annual carrying cost is 35% of the cost of the item after a year of sitting in your store would be $2.70. If you finally sold it at the beginning of the second year for $2.86, the cost of that sale would be 94.4%. These are not my figures. These are the generally accepted calculations made by accountants at year's end to estimate a store's annual cost and profits. Most retailers do not consider these losses because they are hidden from view in day-to-day operations. I personally have never heard of a supplier warning a retailer about the losses incurred by carrying overstock. Every product in your store is costing you 0.00096% of its original cost each day just by being in your store. A store that ends each month with $50,000 in inventory at cost suffers an annual loss of $17,500 in addition to the money that was put into the inventory. Imagine what would happen if we eliminated overstock by buying only what we could sell. Any items that have sold less than once in the 90-day period should be sent to death row using the same criteria as above. Once we have the inventory to a manageable size, we will get into RFM indicators, where the real power comes into play. But first, we have to crawl before we can walk. This is not where it ends. This is merely the beginning. I can think of many things I have encountered in the hundreds of stores I have worked with over the past 4 decades. I will explain them all in detail in future courses. And few, if any, of these bad practices seem to have been eliminated. They just keep getting worse. Do you understand how 45% of your sales may be unprofitable? Do you know there are probably enough of some products in your stores that will take 3 years to sell? I will go on and on about the problems I uncovered in convenience stores stretching from Hawaii to Puerto Rico. Until we get enough retailers to understand that these practices have come to an end, the recent health problems we continue to experience in our countries have given many stores a temporary boost. But that situation is going to change soon, and we have to be ready for those changes. Just yesterday, I heard another major retailer announce it is closing hundreds of stores. We cannot go on doing what we have been doing and survive. We must get control over our inventory now, buy only what we can sell during the next delivery cycle, and stop using our own money to acquire stock. We need to move into consignment. If you have questions or want to make comments, please write to us at storereportinfo@gmail.com, and we will respond as time allows. Thanks for watching our presentation. Hope to see you again next time.